What's up, guys? Welcome back to Volts Comics and More. I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be reviewing these. They are the Marvel Comic Digest. They came out with 5 of them so far. I got all 5 here. If you guys like this video, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a review on every single one of them, like different episodes, something like that. But for right now, I'm just going to review the newest one. Especially with the Black Panther movie and everything. And I know I've done a bunch of Black Panther videos already, but this is actually kind of more on the line of the Avengers. It says featuring the Black Panther, but it honestly, like, what was it? It has Avengers number 57. Behold the Vision. And actually, this is more of a Vision comic than anything. Which actually, I believe that's like the first appearance of the Vision. Stan Lee, editor, Roy Thomas, writer, John Buscema, artist, George Klein, inker, and Sam Rosen, letterer. So this is, you're talking about Stan Lee, editor, so you know. These always have a bunch of classic comics in them that it's a great way, like if you were to find this comic graded and like a perfect grade and everything, I mean, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research, but I'm fairly certain that this is one of the bigger sellers, like one of the more expensive comics to get if you're looking for the collector's single issue type thing. And actually, it's so the cover itself so iconic that if you were to look side by side, this is from the all new, all different Avengers, and it's issue number 6, called Beware the Vision. And you see like the all new, all different Avengers down there. But you compare them side by side, and it's just amazing how much, things have changed over the years. But yeah, the cover alone is so iconic and everything. And then if you move on, you also get some newer comics. Like these. I'm not actually going to just kind of like read you bit by bit or anything like that. Basically, I'm just letting you guys know what these are all about. If you've ever seen them in stores, you can go to your local comic book store, or I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but they are available in different stores that sell like magazines and like Archie Digest, stuff like that. But also towards the end of them, normally they come with bonus comics that are from the animated series. And this is actually they have some from like the newer animated series, but this is actually from one of the classic animated series that I myself even grew up with. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes type storyline. And if any of you have ever watched them, then you might recognize like some of the artwork and cartoons for them. So yeah, this isn't totally dealing with just Black Panther. It's also dealing with a bunch of others too. It's just whatever the Black Panther had to deal with the Avengers, or team up with the Avengers, or you know, whichever. And then Avengers Assemble comic also from the newer series. But usually those are just more towards like the end, and there's usually only like a couple of them or so that I've noticed. But for the most part, they are focusing on a lot of the original comics. So just wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of that. Like I said, I do have other ones. This is just number 5. They come out like every other month, or every other month, I think. So you kind of have a little bit of time before the next one comes out to try to find it. Like, I think the next one, oh, here, I don't even have to guess. At the end, they always tell you what the next issue is going to be. It doesn't tell you when, just tells you what. But Avengers versus Thanos. So I'm really excited about that one. But yeah, as I said before, it's just a great way to collect some of the original comics and some of the, especially some of like the more expensive ones, like Behold Division, stuff like that. But yeah, another thing that I had picked up over at comic book store the other day, and I think I showed you guys this in a previous video, but while I'm talking about the older comics, I think I'll add it in here now. Don't you just love that? Just snap of your finger and anything you want can be right there, right in your hand. Of course, that also comes with the power of video editing too. So, you know, without the video editor, I wouldn't try that trick at home. But anyway, this is Black Panther, Sound and Fury, number 1. It has its own current story, basically with the Black Panther and Claw facing off. But also, at the end of that story, I don't know if you see it down there in the corner, goes on to a new story, or rather an older story, Fantastic Four. This is actually the first appearance of the Black Panther. This is kind of like remastered to show you, so you can have like the newer paper with it and stuff like that. Kind of the same way that, kind of the same thing that happened with all of these. These are all of the True Believers number 1. A lot of them I have are, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's probably losing focus because it's looking at all these different faces. But a lot of these are the Jack Kirby, which I know I've mentioned before in other videos. But Jack Kirby wasn't the only ones that had them. You also have the Amazing Fantasy, first appearance of Spiderman. Kind of show you some of the great artwork that they did back then. I mean, you know, it's a lot of it. A lot of it is just so simple, but yet it's classic. It's recognizable, you know. Steve Ditko and Stan Lee both did an amazing job on this. And in any of these, like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee type thing, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which actually, speaking of first appearances, this is the first appearance of the Helicarrier for S.H.I.E.L.D. So, yeah, these True Believer books are $1 each, and they have a lot of, it's another great way to get something that you've been wanting to read. And you know what, if you're like a really big collector and wanting to get like the original graded comics, stuff like that, go for it. I highly recommend it. I mean, having that piece of history is just, it's indescribable. It's so incredible. But, you know, a lot of things are graded and you just kind of want to keep it in that case and stuff, especially like a 9.5 or anything, you know. But a lot of these are so great to just kind of like have out. I mean, especially only for $1, you know. This is the Wolverine versus the Hulk, the first appearance of the Wolverine. A little bit of artwork in that too. But yeah, it's just a great way to get it without having to worry about, damaging one of the originals and stuff like that. And if you're a big fan of the X-Men, they've come out with a bunch of X-Men. Currently, they have a bunch of stuff for the Phoenix out. This is actually the wedding of Scott Summers and Jean Grey. And giant-sized X-Men, which actually this was featured in the last issue for the Marvel Digest comics. And X-Force also. So, or if you, another good thing about them, like this is Marvel Zombies #1. They have like a bunch of collector's editions for the Marvel Zombies. Obviously there's a lot more than just this #1, and so, but it's a great way. Like if you're not too certain about the series, and you just want something to kind of take a sneak peek at. A lot of times they'll do stuff like this. They also did it with the All New, All Different Avengers. They also did it with Miles Morales Spider-Man and Thor and a few others. The new Thor, I mean, Jane Foster Thor. But yeah, they did it with a few others, and that's a great way to just kind of get started on a series that you're not, if you're not too sure about. Like I said, it's only $1, so instead of buying like multiple books or even the graphic novels, if you're not too sure about it, because a lot of people weren't too sure about there being a new Thor or there being a new Captain America, and so, or even new Iron Man. Riri Williams is the new Iron Man right now, along with Doctor Doom, and along with the Tony Stark AI. So, but yeah, these are just some great ways to catch up on some older comics that maybe you've been wanting to get into and stuff like that. I guess what this video is all about is just kind of getting into the classic, the beginning of Marvel, the pillars that hold up the Marvel history. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right? Pillars? Yeah. Anyway. So, again, great read. Great read. Great read. All very awesome ways to get caught up and get into the history. Also, another good book to pick up while I'm on it. I just can't get enough of that. And I really hope it turns out, like it's supposed to turn out. But if it doesn't, and if it's a fail, oh well, it's a fail. But this is Stan Lee's amazing, fantastic, incredible, a marvelous memoir. Stan Lee and his very own comic. And basically it just kind of tells the life of Stan Lee, and trying to get it really good. He's all over the place in here. Well, here, I'll show you some. It just kind of gives, it's his own memoir, and he just kind of like talks about different things that, well, here's a really good picture of him. You got Thor, Spiderman, Captain America. If I'm missing anybody in that picture, let me know. But yeah, it's a really good read. especially if you want to learn more about Stan Lee, as far as talking about comic book history goes and everything. This is definitely a really, really good read. I suggest very highly to pick it up if you're into that sort of thing. And, you know, to give him a memoir in a comic book series. There's one picture that I was looking for specifically in here to show you guys, but I can't find it right this second, so I am very, very sorry. But it shows you like different cover arts for like his original like Fantastic Four, and actually you know, talks about like Fantastic Four actually saved not really saved Stan Lee's career, because he was, a lot of times he actually thought about quitting, and he was going to quit, but his wife had mentioned to him, you know, well, there's this story that you've been working on. Why don't you send that in to your publisher, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't, because you're going to quit anyway. So he goes, oh, all right. So he sends in the idea for the Fantastic Four, and it turned out to be a major hit, and so he stayed on longer to be with the Fantastic Four. And also, like with the X-Men, he started the X-Men, but he didn't continue with it. After a few issues, he realized that, you know, anybody could be a mutant. And it just got to be too many characters to handle all at once. So he kind of left that. But another thing that he created that kind of saved himself was Spider-Man, the Amazing Fantasy. He made that by looking at the wall, and on the wall was a fly, just kind of crawling up the wall. And he said to himself something along the lines of, you know, what if someone, a human, could actually do that, could actually climb up walls like that fly? And then he started thinking, Flyboy, Flyman. It just didn't cut it. You know, it just didn't sound right. So he thought some more and basically came up with Spiderman. And I've heard a few people talking about Amazing Fantasy, and how like the last issue was the beginning issue, the first issue for Spider-Man, and how all the other Amazing Fantasies had like different monsters and stuff like that. And I think the thing was that Stan Lee had said, and let me know in the comments below, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe Stan Lee had said that he wanted to just put it in there because he wasn't sure how Spider-Man would react with people, and neither were the publishers, so they're just like, all right, well, we'll just stick it in our last issue here because it's our last issue. So it's our last issue. So if you know, if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it. Oh well. But you know, Spider-Man not making it just didn't happen. You know, Spider-Man is one of the most iconic heroes of today, and you know, whether or not before they meant for him to be a monster like the rest of the series was, which I've been asked this before, what do I think on that theory that he was a monster, that Spider-Man was created to be a monster like the rest of them in the Amazing Fantasy storyline. And in all honesty, I don't think he was necessarily. I mean, I realize that in horror movies and stuff, spiders are considered horrific, to say the least. Horrific. But anyway, I think whatever their intentions back then for Spider-Man were, did not amount to now. I mean, there's been different times where Spider-Man has, like, you got the Spider-Man story where the Superior Spider-Man, where Dr. Octopus had switched minds with Peter Parker, and yeah, so Peter Parker was kind of like evil during that time. Well, not necessarily evil. Doc Ock had started up Parker Industries, which I can get into all that detail into another video some other time. But anyway, so I don't. There's been times where Peter Parker, especially like in the Spider-Verse, like Spider-Man Noir is a little bit more of an anti-hero. Spider-Man 2099 is kind of same type anti-hero-ish. Like, to me, he looks like the Punisher version of Spider-Man with that spider emblem on his chest. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what this is. But anyway, so I'm going to cut the video off there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It would help me out so much. And also, don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I put out a new video. And also, share the video if you liked it. And also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I have the links in the description on my channel. And also, I guess that's it. Alright, I will see you guys next time. And, yeah. Bye.